Something a little different today, folks. Something sort of political, sort of historical, kind of a mixture. Now, this is going to be an interview with Tupac from 1992. And this guy was way ahead of his time in a lot of different ways. He was talking about people struggling, like this interview's from the early 90s, right? So he came up in the 70s and 80s. And the 80s, in my opinion, I don't have stats on it or anything, but in my opinion, the 80s were the greatest time in America. There was that, man, I can't remember the name of the show, had Michael Douglas and Charlie Sheen, and Michael Douglas played Gordon Gekko, who was like this hedge fund manager, whatever it may have been. But he said there was a line in the movie where it's like, greed is good. Greed is a good thing. Greed powers this country, or whatever it was he said. And that was the sentiment in the 80s. The 80s were all about excess. The yuppies who were just like the people making all these money off the stocks and off whatever the hell it may have been. And yeah, I mean, Wolf of Wall Street, I'm pretty sure happens, in the 80s too, or at least part of the movie. And it was just a time of excess, a time of go ahead and step on the little guy because greed is good. And if they were worth the damn, I wouldn't be able to step on them. That's kind of how I see it. And it's funny, I was watching this interview, excuse me, and he's talking about stuff. I made a video a few weeks back. It's basically just a rant video. So, I mean, if you're not interested in my opinion, don't even bother. If I've said some stuff that might resonate with you, go check it out. But it's like an hour of just me bitching about rich people because it's something that I'm super passionate about. I said in the video, if you're a millionaire, fine, no hate towards you. But if you're a billionaire, you got $500 billion and there's as much misery in this world as there is, man, fuck you. You got more money than you could ever spend in 1,000 lifetimes. Fuck off. So that was what that video was pretty much about, just me bitching and moaning about the way society is. So I bring that up to say I watched this interview with Tupac, and he's saying the exact same shit back then that I'm still talking about to this day. And when this interview came out, I was only 6 years old. So in the last 32 plus years, not much has changed. You've got some people talking about doing the right thing, but the people that talk about doing the right thing, they don't win elections because the people who are in power, they don't want it to be fair. And those are the people who are funding the politicians that we're, allowed to vote into office. Because the people who are honest and want to do the right thing and want to help the American people, that's not good for the establishment. It's really not. Empowering the people is terrible for the establishment because it means that they have to give some of their control to the rest of us. So, having said that, I'm going to jump into it. We're going to see Tupac, 1992. All right, an interview where I think he's just kind of talking about what he's passionate about. And I mean, from his background, man, it makes all the sense in the world. Like he had every right to feel the way he feels, but this was the time, in my opinion, when people started to kind of just barely crack their eyes open to the struggles of other people, because this is just on the backside of the excess of the 80s, and people were still stuck in that kind of place where they're like, if I'm rich, it's because I deserve it. If you're poor, it's because you deserve it. And they refuse to admit that there's a lot more to it, man. The system is set up to do this. Since the 80s, the amount of money that has been funneled from the middle and lower class up to the elites is fucking absurd. Something like trillions of dollars in the last 40 years. Imagine if us 350 million or so Americans had an extra $1 trillion added to our paychecks. That's why people feel more broke than they ever have. My dad made more money in the 90s than I made in the 2010s doing the exact same job. Prices went up, inflation went up, housing is more scarce than it ever was. But anyway, I hope some of this resonates with you because man, it's exactly the same shit that we're going through today. And Pac was talking about this 32 years ago or whatever it was. I'm not a mathematician, but let's jump into it. I might stop it, but I don't think I will. I think I'm just going to let Pac speak for himself because obviously I'm not going to be able to be as eloquent as Tupac. This comes from MTV News. It's 8 years ago, 12 million views, but it's MTV. Hopefully, I'll be able to play it. Hopefully, I'll be able to upload it because I think the shit he's talking about is the exact problem that we have today. So let's hit it.
This world is such a and when I say this world, I mean it. I don't mean in an ideal sense. I mean in every day, every little thing you do. It's such a gimme. Everybody back off. Everybody's like, you taught that from school, everywhere. Big business. If you want to be successful, you want to be like Trump, gimme. Push. Step. Crush. That's how it all is. And
he's talking about how greedy that motherfucker is back in 1992. Like, that's why people from New York don't vote for that guy. They know who he is. They know about him. People who have only started learning about Trump after The Apprentice, ask the producers of The Apprentice. They made a dude that shits himself on a regular basis look like a straight up boss. They made a set for him with that high back chair, with the big long table. They made that set because if they did it in his own office, they were like, this shit is from like the 70s. His office looks like shit. His office doesn't look like somebody who's successful. Yet back even in 92, he's pretending to be a billionaire. And, this is after not renting apartments to Black people. This is after putting out a full page ad to ask for the execution of children who were wrongfully accused of stealing from a white woman. It's like, dude, if you steal something, it shouldn't cost you your life. Yes, that's fucking wrong. But as somebody who did a bunch of bad shit in the past, dude, it shouldn't result in execution. So for him to go out and ask for that, it just says so much about the person he is.
And it's like nobody ever stopped. Just I feel like instead of us just being like slavery's bad, slavery's bad, bad whitey. I mean, all right, let's stop that. And everybody's smart enough to know that. I mean, we've been slighted. And we want ours. And I don't mean by like ours, 40 acres and a mule, because we're past that. But we need help. I mean, for us to be on our own 2 feet, us meaning youth or us meaning Black people, whatever you want to take it for us to be on our own 2 feet, we do need help because we have been here. We have been a good friend. If you want to make it a relationship type thing, we have been there, and now we deserve our payback. It's like you got a friend that you don't never look out for. You dressed up in jewels. Now America's got jewels, and they paid and everything, and they lending money to everybody except us. And it's like, everybody need a little help on their way to being, self-reliant. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole thing about the album, about the Special Olympics. Everybody need a little something and they to be independent. No independent person just grew up and was born independent. You worked and you learned teamwork and you learned cooperation and unity and struggle, and then you became independent. And we have to teach that and instill that. And why is it that they want to do that? I mean, if this is truly a melting pot in the country where we care about it and Lady Liberty got a hand like this, she really loves us, then we really need to be like that. And it needs to be the Black kids. If there's a white person who got money, then you need to help them. He need to help Black kids, Mexican kids, Korean kids, whatever. But it needs to be real. And it need to be before we all die. And then you say, oh, I made a mistake. We should have gave them some money. We really should have helped these folks. It's going to be too late. You know what I'm saying? And then that's when you got to pay your own karma. And that's when God make you punish. When God punishes you. Because I feel like, it's too much money here. I mean, nobody should be hitting lotto for 36 million and we got people starving in the streets. That is not idealistic. That's just real. That is just stupid. There's no way Michael Jackson should have, or whoever Jackson, should have $1,000,000 billion and then there's people starving. There's no way. There's no way that these people should own planes and their people don't have houses, apartments, shacks, drawers, pants.
You say to people that say, well, they earned it. Now you go out and you're earning it.
If they earned it, then I think that's good. And I think that they deserve it. But even if you earned it, you still owe. Because look at me, I don't have that mega money, but I feel guilty walking by somebody. I got to give them some mail. And if I know I got $3,000 in my pocket, I feel like it's wrong to give that person a quarter.
For real. Holy shit. I heard something years ago, dude. This was like 20 years ago. They were talking about Bill Gates because he was the richest person in the world. He only had 50 billion. Now we're up to 10 times that, right? $500 billion, or, where the richest people in the world are floating at. And they said something to the effect like, if Bill Gates dropped a quarter, he would lose $30,000 by wasting his time to pick up that quarter. He's $30,000 richer by not bothering to pick up that quarter and to continue to go back to work. So think about that. He's making 30 grand in the amount of time it takes you to pick up a quarter. What the fuck? And this is way back in the day. This is when people aren't even near as rich as they are today. So that's why I said Tupac is ahead of his game, because we should all feel guilty. We should. As long as you're making it. If you're struggling, it's totally acceptable to worry about you and yours first. But if you're driving around in a high-end car, going to have some fucking caviar at a country club, and you don't help people, what the fuck is wrong with you? You have to be such a self-centered piece of shit to look at poor people who are struggling, and we're set up in a society where they can't really fucking get out of it. And you look at them, you're like, it's their fault. They should have done what I did. They should have been born rich and went and learned to be a hedge fund manager and make another $20 million a year. It's the same shit is happening today.
$1. It's wrong. Only you know what you got in your pocket. And that's wrong. No matter what they do, if they take it and drink it, they take it and drink it. But I mean, you got. You understand? And we all know how hard it is, and it's not about if you good or you bad. So since it's not about if you good or you bad, we know that because he don't got, don't mean he was bad, or don't mean he's a criminal, or don't mean he's crazy, or a drug addict, or none of that. It just means he don't got. And ain't it bad that you got 30? I mean, can you imagine somebody having $32 million? $32 million, and this person has nothing, and you can sleep. You can still go to the movies and then these are the type of people that get humanitarian awards.
For real, some of these people now that have $500 billion, he's talking about 32 million. Okay. A lot of the richest people on the planet have more than 1,000 times that. I mean, every billion is 1,000 million. And I say that all the time, not because like people don't know that, but I think it makes a difference to bring that up. Like, wait a second, 1 billion is 1,000 million. Holy shit, that is so much fucking money. And it is. And so he's talking about people back in the early 90s having $32 million, not doing a damn thing. Maybe they spend, $500,000 every 10 years on doing some shit that seems humanitarian so they can win a damn award. And we're way past that now. Like, think about how many billionaires get a pat on the back because they're like, well, I donated money to, build wells in Africa. Cool. That's great. There should be people helping out continents that colonialism completely destroyed and left them with none of the natural resources that they should have been able to use to make some damn income and take care of themselves. Sure, that's great. But you still step over every fucking homeless person that you see. Like they are useless lives. Like they don't matter at all. And the vast majority of them, they either have mental health issues or they fell on hard times. Like if your kid gets sick and you got to pay for surgeries and medical equipment, that'll break anybody. If you suddenly have to pay 30 grand a month to keep your kid alive, you'll find a damn way to do it. But it'll bankrupt you. But most parents will say, I'll be homeless to make sure my kid survives. It's not even fucking question. You're not going to let your kid die. You're not. So for him to be saying this in 92, and we're literally thousands of times beyond that, that's why I talk shit on Elon Musk. I talk shit on Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, fucking George Soros, the Rothschilds, the Copes. Like, they're all pieces of shit. They're trying to just gain power and run the world as they see fit, and they don't mind stepping on literally everybody to get there.
Millionaires. How can they be humanitarians by the fact that they millionaires and there's so many poor people shows how unhumane they are? You know what I'm saying? And that bugs me. Not saying that when I'm never going to be rich and I'm never, you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying it's a struggle and I think everybody deserves. And I think there's a way to pay these people. I think there is a way. It just takes to be revolutionary and it takes to do something out of the ordinary. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that if we just said, okay, I got an idea. No more porno buildings. You know what I'm saying? Let's build houses. Or no more polo games. Let's build houses for poor people. You know what I'm saying? Or look, okay, I know you're rich. I know you got $40 billion, but can you just keep it to one house? You only need one house. And if you only got 2 kids, can you just keep it to 2 rooms? I mean, why have 52 rooms and you know there's somebody with no room?
Dude, that's the housing crisis we're living through today. That's why people can't buy their first fucking homes. But you got rich people who have 35 homes, or people that have 5 or 10 homes and 8 of them are Airbnb so they can make some more profit off that home. Like, I get it. Make some profit. You worked hard to get yourself there. But every Airbnb home is keeping another family from buying a home.
It just don't make sense to me. It don't. And then these people celebrate Christmas. They got big trees, huge trees, all the little trimmings. Everybody got gifts, and then somebody's starving. And they're having a white Christmas. They're having a great Christmas, eggnog and the whole 9. That's not fair to me.
Tupac was the man, for real. He's still, even to this day, 28 years after his death, the shit that he says is still so much on point. And I think it may be because his mom was a Black Panther, so she probably, while he was growing up, probably taught him a lot of shit that other kids wouldn't know. But listen to Pac as much as you can. Maybe not even his music if you don't like it, but listen to his interviews because he had a lot of really powerful things to say. So hopefully a couple people have learned a few things. I love you for being here. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.